I can tell you it took a while for me to have the courage to join the stage on this one. I sat and I watched, and I mean, I do a lot of public speaking. I pride myself on my public speaking. And I watched these people make complete idiots of themselves, and I sat there and laughed, and tears running down my face. And I got to about 45 minutes into it, and I went, I can't walk away without having joined the idiocy crew. So I better get up and do one before I finish. And we had this nice, safe environment because we'd all been there laughing with each other. We all understood the gig. As I stood up to do it, a session ended, and all of a sudden, there's another 100 people or so watching. And I stood up and I drew a weird topic, and I had some weird slides and predictably made a fool of myself, only to discover that a potential client had been brought over to meet me. And
very proud, Mark.
Their introduction to me was watching me make an idiot of myself. So I'd like to...
You didn't get the gig.
No, we didn't get the gig. But I thought it was a really inspiring thing. As a fun team-building activity, as a fear of public speaking activity, as a how do you get in too safe to fail, it's got all sorts of inspiration. So before we get going, I've got to give you a little bit of a warning. The thing that I discovered, I went back to Arlo when I was there in August and said, hey, I want to run your presentation karaoke thing. He said, that's fine, it's up on GitHub. Because being a geek, of course, he doesn't publish the thing, he publishes the source code. And this week I've been through 2 operating system upgrades and various other things to get to the point where I could get the application to run. But it seems to run mostly okay. I did my trial tests last night in the hotel room and they were working beautifully. I did them right this morning. We had a couple of glitches. Realised I should have made sure his unit tests were running and passing as well as I could get the application to run. So be prepared for potentially some technical challenges as well as some random slide challenges. But the way it works is we need a list of topics. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a list of Agile topics and we're going to have a list of other. And you'll notice that there's index cards and Sharpies at kind of the end of each row. We need a source of topic lists. Please now take a couple of minutes, grab an index card, grab a Sharpie, contribute a topic or 2. So topic 1, anything to do with Agile. Topic 2, anything to watch people talk about. So, you know, I had the experience of watching a 24-year-old girl talk about the value there is in being a grandfather. So, jot down a couple of thoughts, 1 topic per card. And then this is the Agile pile on this side of the room, on that little table. And over this side of the room, this is the other pile of topics. Please generate.
Just want you for your power.
I don't know how I'm going to speak, I can't even write that.
You don't have to do that at the same time.
That's good. It's all going so well.
Ben, if you're done writing, do you want to help me and collect from that side of the room? Yeah. Thank you, sir.
How do you know whether they're
We saw.
No, I'm going to random shuffle them. We just need to know whether... So that's random, this is Agile this side.
Oh, okay.
Is that Agile or no?
That's Agile.
Yes. And face down a bit.
Brandon? You'll figure it out.
Like Agile?
There we go. It's a beautiful shot.
I have things are random.
I'm trying to think of
Wayne, would you do me a hand and just do a shuffle sort extraordinaire?
It'd be interesting to see how many cards I've sent on.
Yeah.
So there is a little bit of duplication. If you, when you get up here, get a card that's a duplicate, feel free to grab another card. So here's the rules of the game. It's 2 minutes for your talk. You have 2 optional modes. Mode 1 is you're going to say, I can present anything, and the slide will auto-advance every 8 to 10 seconds. If you're done on the slide, 3 seconds in, you can hit any key and it'll advance the slide, but it's basically an automatic time progression. If you want some semblance of control, you pick, give me some semblance of control, and you'll have to hit space or enter to advance the slide, but if we feel like you sat on the slide too long, I might jump in from the edge and just nudge you. Now, with that on note, and you can pick from either pile to start with, I'd like to call for a first volunteer to kick the show off the road.
Oh, thanks, Wayne.
I'm going to help everybody. And we go for the random pile.
So this one was on top, mate.
This way on top. Okay. Do I announce the topic?
Yes, on your first slide.
My topic is my last holiday. I can present anything. My last holiday was not what I was hoping it was going to be. Didn't go anywhere, didn't do anything. Stayed in a darkened room, just laid down, just reflecting on many, many different topics.
Looks like we got stuck.
Much like my last holiday. I couldn't get out of the room.
Hang on. Sorry. We seem to get through about 3 in a row before we have to restart the app.
You're doing great so far, Dan.
Thank you.
You are doing great.
Even better.
Here we go.
Yes. My last holiday. Look, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm all about the cheese. However, I am also all about touching things. And when I say touching things, I mean anything. The curtest, most roundest bottom, large groups of people, I will touch them at any point in time. I really don't mind. I've had several lawsuits brought against me. I have a thing about touching dirty people. The dirtier the better. I like the smell, the aroma. It makes me feel alive. I need another slide, please. Anytime you're ready.
Hit space.
Hit space. I don't know whether this is a muffin or a poo. I'm trying to work it out. It's certainly not something I'd willingly eat, but it may provide a degree of happiness. High value, low novice practitioner, expert. What I find is that experts are really annoying. I like novices. I like young, fresh people who don't think they have all the answers. Plan A, Plan B. I like Plan C. Fake it. That's what I'm doing right now. I think I'm making some progress, but I'm not entirely sure. This seems to be working quite well. I like it. The path mile travelled by. This is a long and winding road, as the song says.
And you're done.
Oh.
So we might just slow that slide down. Now you get the idea. So just one little hint. Where did we lose your holiday?
Oh, jeez.
Slide 1.
So
I made it last, the slide, touching. I'm not having away with touching.
predictably away. So part of the trick is you've got to try and stay on topic.
Oh.
I thought you were getting up to volunteer, Craig. Can we have a second volunteer, please?
Come on.
Thank you, Andy. I'll stay close to make
That's
sure.
not an agile topic.
I don't think it is.
This is a technique I've never heard of. Herding the cats. That sounds more like agile. All right, so my man's mind won't stretch by a new idea. Yeah, so if cats are your kind of bag and herding them aren't, this is absolutely impossible. That makes no sense to me. So, hit space. Does she feel safe? Now, the thing about not panicking is that when the cats are coming out and you've got a kind of a wave of cats coming towards you, you shouldn't panic. And the last thing you should do is actually bother. Particularly with cats, they won't thank you for it. If you try and herd a cat, it's a bit like trying to herd a camel, to be honest. If you've ever seen a camel in the wild with straw on its back, you'll find that herding them is a little bit like clapping. So if I can get you all to clap your hands slowly in unison, in rhythm, and don't stop until I say stop. I haven't said stop yet, so keep going. Is that this kind of organisational chart is where you'll find cats the most. You can stop. Now, what you didn't know is that more than 3,000 books are published every single day. And herding those books is a little bit like herding cats. The thing about that, though, is that books are made from paper, paper's made from trees, and trees are also deforested by cows. Now, a cow obviously also can knock over phone boxes, but so can a herd of cats. If you've ever seen cats swarming down a road, you'll find that they can also get an awful lot of poo in their litter trays, and 1 in 3 cats actually lack access to adequate sanitation. Now, this is somewhere you probably wouldn't find a cat, unless it's a cat-worshipping kind of temple. There are lots of people who worship cats. They worship chickens as well. And the thing about worshipping chickens is that they're a lot easier to herd than cats.
And that is time. Oh, that was amazing. Who's next?
Curiously enough, that's the same topic. Okay, hi everyone, I'm Kim.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, Kim.
Oh,
Okay,
hang on, pause, Kim. I just restarted.
Alrighty, so my topic today is, should Facebook include a dislike button? It's a risky proposition, as I'm sure all of you can imagine. I have friends who like the dislike button, friends who prefer scales. I've seen references to the dislike button in shows such as The Big Bang Theory, where I hear Sheldon doesn't like the likes and dislikes. He likes stars. Of course, expressing it is always a matter of risk. And putting yourself out in front of a crowd of people to express these ideas is a risk in itself. Should we avoid it? Should we pass it on to someone else? Is there someone else that can take the cat away from me? I don't know. But eventually the time will be up, and we can always come back to the idea of how many people are there on Facebook anyway? And we know that just recently it was announced that Facebook had over 1 billion people log into it in a single business day, which means that 1/7 of us are actively connected to Facebook at any time, and they're doing stuff. They're talking to people, they're going from one idea to another, they're sharing stuff, and some of those things are going to be things that people like. But a lot of those things are going to be stuff that people really don't give 2 pins about. And they'd rather get out of there. Facebook is also a place where we encounter cyberbullying. It's a big issue. There's stuff about it that we don't like. And perhaps that is the greatest argument for keeping the like versus dislike button, because it's the fastest way of expressing your opinion and letting people know that it wasn't what you needed. So, where should we go? Should we stick with the like versus dislike? Should we go back to the stars because they were embraced and loved by our predecessors? I think we should make a decision. And we should do it fast, and we should tell the people at Facebook, God, I've forgotten his name already. Thank you, Zuckerman. What our preferences are, and we should stand together and be a tribe. How am I doing with time?
next?
Okay.
Thank you.
That seems to be avoiding the Agile topics. Oh,
You ready?
hi everyone, my name's Emma and I'm here today to talk to you about how to make an organisation buy into Agile. As you can see, organisations can be complex things, lots of people, lots of ideas. We all want to change the world, we all need to work hard. How do we motivate people when there's so much complexity in an organisation?
Yeah, I'll know.
Yeah, thanks. But we know that it's important, right? And the only metric we really need is people's enthusiasm. We want positivity. We want people to like what we do. And I believe that's the number one thing we need to motivate people by. It's either that or we threaten them. Or we, or we pretend to reward them. And that can be a little bit like deforestation, which is only good if there are happy cows doing it as opposed to mean people with lobby trucks. And sometimes you just wonder why you should bother motivating people because, you know, it sometimes just goes right back on you anyway. But I still believe it's important to motivate an organisation into Agile so that hopefully that doesn't happen. And then we would solve problems. And motivating the organisation into Agile means we're solving problems we don't even know we have yet before we have them, which is a great way of leading and it's a great way of achieving things. And of course, the most important thing about motivating an organisation into Agile is caffeine. You end up not enough coffee in your team and bad stuff happens. So if you want to motivate people, it's really important. And when you light that passion and you share that dream, and the organisation gets behind you, you can't fail. Agile will work and your organisation will be motivated and they will buy into the concept. Because all of us motivated to succeed with Agile beats any of us as individuals.
Looking for volunteers.
Who's it going to be?
Thanks, Craig.
What's the time? What's the time? I'm watching the clock.
2 minutes.
I'm going to talk to you about reducing batch size. Reducing batch size is a trivial activity when compared to understanding complexity of the business system. It's great, like that we reduce batch size because it gives us more options and more flexibility, but fundamentally we've got to think about the whole system. And, right, when we do, we're going to get better results. We're going to get heaps better results. Just keep tapping. 70% of your brain. I don't know do you guys know the 70% of your brain mean, right? Like, it's not real, right? It's like 70% of your brain is like your whole brain minus 30%, but that's the only relevance to truth that statement has. But don't worry, right? Because like I said in the opening of the conference, like Agile is full of bullshit, right? Like the internet is full of bullshit and the Agile crowd on the internet are no different to anyone else, right? And we come together with the internet with our small brains and tiny hands and we make simplistic agreements with each other in a digital medium without stopping to spend time with each other and understand each other and understand all of us and any of us. Fuck. I'll just stand here for a minute. Thank you, right? And that's a really good slide to follow up with because I got nothing to follow through. But one thing that's important is rhythm, small batches and rhythm. I'm bringing it back, right? Every good public speaker, right? Is there anything you'd like to ask before I go? Thank you very much.
And we're calling. Thank you, sir.
Oh.
Oh.
No, go for it.
Are we ready?
Hi, I'm Sue. I'm going to tell you all about the joy of bird watching. You never know what birds will find. Sometimes a magpie will come up with a lovely shiny object and you'll be able to stalk it and capture it. You never know. It's one of the lesser known joys of bird watching. How long is this going to stay on here?
The first slide seems to be sticking.
Oh, the path more travelled. If you go down the path more travelled, you'll probably see more of the more common birds. But if you go the path less travelled, you'll see some of the rarer ones. Some of them that hide in the bushes. And then, of course, you've got your dirty birds. And if you get pooped on, you'll really feel the lack of adequate sanitation. If you're standing there among a big flock of birds. It's one of the lesser known joys of bird watching. You choose. You choose to watch the dirty birds, you choose to get out of the way. It's all up to you. Take the path less travelled. Central Florida could run out in less than 5. Run out of birds? Seems like a strange prospect, but you never know. Watch them while they're there. They could all get eaten by mice. I don't know how they'd catch them, but strange things have happened. In order to solve problems we don't even know are problems yet. I bet no one ever predicted running out of birds, much less mice eating them. Some things you just can't ever think of. Poor birds. That's all we've got left of them. So sad. I wonder if they have special bird watching goggles. You just never know. But don't hire him because, bit young, child labour laws and all that. Kapow. That's sometimes what you want to do to the birds. Right, come here, I'll get you. Don't ever do that again.
That is time.
Are you ready?
Random is growing in popularity.
I think it's just going to get a difficult agile question for the other one.
You're up.
Jesus Christ. Sure. Hi, my name's Mark and I'm here to talk to you about why smelling people is a great way to introduce yourself. You can put out a hand and you can shake hands and say, hi, my name's Mark, but that's a little bit impersonal, a little bit stale. It's not for everybody. You could draw them a diagram to tell them all about your life story and tell them, I was delivered here and I sort of hung around a bit and did some other stuff. And I love chasing light bulbs with legs. It's one of my best hobbies. In fact, anything with legs I like chasing, really. I do it all the time. I've very rarely caught a light bulb, but hopefully one day I will. You can tell them anything about yourself. You could brag about your brain. I've got a great frontal lobe. Side view of my brain's awesome. You could crap on for hours about it, but the best thing to do is really just sniff them. You can get them to sit down. You really want to get a good, especially if you go for the head region. Smelling hair. Hair smells nice. Hair smells nice. That's a good start. Oh, that's a shame.
You were well on track. So I have to say, when I walked in, Wayne saw me boot Windows up and went, I can't believe you're running Windows. Look what's happening. We're on Windows. It's crashing.
It's Windows 10. It's crashing.
All right, who's next? We're pausing.
Obviously, Ben Hogan. If not, Ben first.
Come on,
All right, Ben.
Hi everyone.
Hi there.
Talking about motorbike riding, which is a lot like going up a mountain, and there's some sense of, converging and diverging while you're driving along the path towards your destination.
How?
Because motorbikes are like any journey, and you just have to decide that today I'm going to go motorbike riding. Because that's the problem I want to talk to you about today. That not enough decisiveness in our motorbike riding leads to not enough of this. You need more motorbike riding in your life, and I hope everyone feels that way because we're all motorbike enthusiasts here today. So, as you know, if you've read the guide to motorbike maintenance, the Zen guide to motorbike maintenance, it's important to be able to refactor your motorbike to suit the journey you're on. For example, you know, we know our individual heroes in motorbiking sometimes have different seats, sometimes the comfortable ones, sometimes the more stylish, and you have to decide whether you want to focus on things or people, really. And if you focus on people, you want the fashionable seat. And if you care about, obviously the wrong kind of seat, though, might be the straw that breaks your back and stops a beautiful motorbike ride in its tracks. So don't be that person, You certainly don't want to bring your kids along, because that makes it not much fun at all. And that's really what I think about motorbike riding. Thank you very much.
Floor is open. Thank you, sir. I'm going to take that random poll away soon so we can talk about Agile.
And highlight what we don't know.
You want me to take an Agile one? Yes, please. Agile.
More Agile.
Why don't you do a slide turn over 3 seconds?
Ready?
Yeah.
You're on.
Hi, I'm Miles, and today I'd like to talk to you about how to get your general manager to sponsor retro beer. As you can see, this is a very complex diagram that shows exactly the equations required in order to convince your GM to go to the middle of Australia and purchase beer for your retros. Every now and then your GM will get wound up in red tape. It's purely self-inflicted as a result of not enough beer. Generally speaking, this is my book, by the way. My Twitter just here, expressing the ampersand. Moving right along. The higher up the chain you go, the easier it is to fall off when you've had beer. If you had a practice set of retro, you could learn from your mistakes of falling off at the top pillar and do it better next time. Maybe hit the ground a little bit harder. And, well, science, health, beer. This brain is obviously not affected by beer. Evidence that we should have more beer at retros. Of course, we all like keeping data, so if you keep 10 years worth of beer drinking data, that is an efficient way of convincing your GM to bring their kids to the retro and deliver beer. We'll all appreciate not hiring kids into GM roles because they do have a habit of spontaneously combusting. Not a good result into here. So, Justin, beer. Once said that Facebook invented beer. I think he was wrong, but it is suitable for both men and women. Here, and here. Thank you very much. Thank you, Miles.
So we've got time for 2 or 3 more. Not from Wayne.
M. I see M.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm never coming to anything.
It was not
ever
me
again.
who volunteered.
I already
It was
don't like
him.
Ben. So. I started by not liking Ben. Oh, dude, what do I have to do? Get a card.
Pick an Agile card.
So, hi, I'm Em. I need to talk to you today about running a showcase. Risk is everything when it comes to running a showcase. You need to reduce it iteratively. If you run your showcases in Central Florida, they could run out in less than 5 minutes. Everyone can just leave. You will be alone in your showcase in Florida. It's important that we're all in it together. So cats, as Andy pointed out, are very important to Agile and showcases. Tribes of cats make even better showcases. Very good for herding. There are more than 3,000 new books published every day on showcases. Well, but why bother? Really? What's the point? We have our cats, why do we need showcases? Because of the very complex organisational structures. If you have complex organisational structures, you need to take your time and run showcases in Florida about cats. There are no individual heroes in showcases. So forget the grammar and just get out there and show them how it's done. Character, competence, consistency, all key to showcases. You need to cooperate if you're going to compete in the showcase game. Everybody needs to be efficient about getting their showcases together on time. Or will that be the straw that breaks the camel's back?
And you're done.
Mark, can you please volunteer Suresh? You just walked in.
It sounds like you've been volunteered.
All right, what am I doing?
Welcome.
It's a 2-minute.
So just so you know, you're about to give a talk
Okay.
on
Great.
this topic.
Running an agile team full of water followers.
And we have a slide deck already prepared for you.
Oh, you already. But it's random slides.
That's half of the work done.
All right, you ready to go?
I think so.
Yeah, you got 2 minutes to go.
Are you sure that the topic matches the...
No.
So the topic is running an agile team full of water followers. Yeah. So I walk into this room full of beautiful women, right? And that's the team, right? Now, they have a SaaS application that sells lingerie, obviously, and all the, oh, don't panic. So I walk in, I look around the room, everyone busy in their own desktops, working hard, no one talking to each other. Right? I preempted the slide, and I look there and I find, I think it's really boring. We need to do something about it. So I say, who loves, I'm going to ignore the slide pack, I'm just going to go. Who loves having some fun? And I see some of the hands raising up a little bit, and I say, I mean beer, and everyone says, up. So anyone up for a beer after work today? And we get together. First of all, for the very first time, we get together to build trust, relationship, talk to each other, understand what they do outside work, and make those make a little bit of a bonding. So there is some conversation that starts. Then I come to work the next day and find they're now actually talking. They're they're sharing the jokes that they shared last night, asking each other about their family stuff, and that tells me that is probably the right time to start talking about Agile and some of the methodologies that might help them and also the company working together. Is that not 2 minutes yet?
No.
Yeah,
So-
because that was really funny watching that actually be congruent.
And this is not set. This wasn't set up. Right?
We'll let you off the hook back.
Okay, so
Mark, can I volunteer to do one more?
please,
Can I do it at 3 second slides?
sure.
Because I did such a good job on my first one, I thought. If that's all right with you, you can always say fuck off around. I'm sick of you.
You're our lucky last, Craig. You ready to go?
If I don't look, I want to try what Suresh did, just not look at the slides and see how it goes.
All right, you're on.
Okay, cool. So I'm here to talk to you about sprint goals, right? And people talk. I'm not even sure. People talk about People talk about, we don't want to have the big picture now that we've got rid of that waterfall thing and the 6-month specification process, and we want to get into the small iterative development. And what people tend to do is they focus on the small steps, but they lose the context. So what we need to do is when we set sprint goals, we also need to have in mind the bigger picture goal that we're trying to solve. And so we want the idea, you see in some of the literature in the online chat, the idea of the North Star. So we're heading that direction, right? We might meander on different paths as we're going there, but we know where we're going, right? And so reconciling the sprint goals with the big picture at the beginning of each sprint is a really useful technique. It just takes a minute, and it's just what are we here to do in the long term? How are we going to make a difference to the world, to the customers, to whatever we're working on, right? And then we pull it back to the what are we going to do today, what are we going to do this week, right? So don't look at it. So I just want to say, I actually think it's a legitimately useful tool to always anchor every sprint conversation, not just in what's the goal for the week, or what are the tasks that we're doing, but what's the big picture? How are we going to make a change to customers' life? And some of the talks earlier today and now and later in the day, were about the hypothesis-driven design and outcomes and all that sort of stuff. And the thing those guys are talking about is don't set a target ship a feature. Set a target solving a customer's problem, right? And once you're starting to do that, then you can, then you can line up all the things you're doing against that goal, and you can iterate towards it, and so on. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Craig.
Good work.